In every high-stakes conversation, there's this invisible current running underneath it all. A hidden system, really, that decides who's leading and who's following, and it does it without a single explicit command ever being said. So today, we're going to pull back that curtain. We're going to deconstruct the unseen mechanics of power.
Just let that sink in for a second. Power, it's not actually about what you're saying, it's about who controls the speed of the conversation. Think about that. It's not about having the best idea, it's about being the one who creates the space where all the ideas get judged. And that's the paradox we are tearing apart today.
And this is what we call the ghost rhythm. It's this unseen framework that lets the real heavy hitters, the leaders, the top negotiators, completely dominate a room. And they do it without even looking like they're trying. They're not yelling, they're not talking over anyone. No, instead, they're manipulating the tempo, literally turning the room's own anxiety against itself. It's a masterclass in control.
Okay, so how does this actually work? Well, it all kicks off with something called the reactivity trap. And this is a trap that, honestly, most of us fall into without ever even noticing. I want you to think about this for a second. Have you ever been in a conversation and felt that desperate, almost physical urge to just fill a silence? Come on, you know the feeling. Right there, that's the trap starting to snap shut.
Let's paint a picture. You're pitching an idea to your boss. You make your point, you land it perfectly, and you're met with nothing. Just a blank stare, a pause, 1 second, 2 seconds. What happens inside you? Your heart starts hammering. You get that conversational itch, and boom, you immediately start talking again. Only this time, you're going faster. You're over-explaining, adding details that don't matter. You're throwing in ums and you knows, just scanning their face for any sign of approval. Anything.
Yeah, there's actually a name for this. It's called verbal overfunctioning. And what it is, it's a subconscious trade-off your brain makes. The second it senses that social risk in the silence, it just tosses out the goal of be authoritative and switches to find safety now. And this is so important. You're not explaining anymore. You're performing. You're auditioning for their approval. And that right there is the moment your own executive sovereignty, your power to think clearly and just own your space, starts to completely crumble.
And this slide really just lays it all out, right? It's the ultimate bait and switch that your own brain pulls on you. On the left, that's what you want. You're aiming for authority, clarity, influence. But the second that reactivity trap springs, your subconscious just hijacks the whole operation. Suddenly, you're trading authority for a quick hit of safety. Clarity gets thrown out the window for a panicked mess of over-explaining. And your goal to influence? Nope. Now it's just a desperate performance. See, the trap doesn't just beat you. It tricks you into beating yourself.
And look, this isn't just about feeling a little awkward in a meeting. This has real, tangible costs. We call it status atrophy. It's this slow burn erosion of your authority, and it happens every single time you self-sabotage like this. It's that awful, sinking feeling you get hours later, when you're replaying the conversation and you realize, oh my God, I just negotiated myself out of a raise. All because you couldn't stand 3 seconds of quiet. You rushed to fill the void, and you handed over all your power when you did.
So, how is this trap actually built? Because it's not random, not at all. It's a system, a deliberate one. So now we're going to get into the nuts and bolts. We're going to deconstruct the core engine behind it all, a 4-stage process called the Latency-Frame Loop. This is what makes the ghost rhythm tick. In this loop, it really only has one purpose: to split the room in two. It makes one person the observer, the judge, and it turns everybody else into performers, all scrambling for that person's approval. And it works in 4 very specific compounding stages. Okay, stage 1, the latency strike. Latency is just a fancy word for a delay, a pause. So you finish talking, and the person in charge just doesn't respond. They wait, and that deliberate silence, man, it's a weapon. It hacks right into your brain's error monitoring system. The part that's always scanning for social screw-ups. Your brain reads that silence as you messed up, and you instinctively jump in to fix something that wasn't even broken to begin with. This is the leverage point. All right, stage 2. After that pause, they hit you with the minimalist anchor. They'll say something, but it'll be super short, really dense, no fluff, none of that, well, I was just thinking maybe. No, they just state their position, clean and concise. And because it's so brief, you're the one who has to do all the work. You're left trying to figure out what they really mean, filling in all the blanks. They're like this unmoving statue, and you're the frantic interpreter running circles around.
Then you get to stage 3, interruption shielding. This is what happens when someone tries to cut them off. They don't fight back, they don't argue, they just do one of 2 things. Either they just keep talking right through the interruption like it never happened, or they'll stop, wait, let the other person finish, and then pick up their sentence in the exact same spot they left off. The message there is absolutely brutal, and it's crystal clear. What you just said wasn't information. It was just noise.
And finally, the fourth and final stage. This is where the trap slams shut, the frame summary. The conversation's winding down, and they're the one who sums it all up. Okay, great, so we're all agreed we're going with option X. Now, it doesn't even matter if the discussion was a total mess and nothing was decided. Their summary just became the official record. And that's it. That's the moment control is locked in, because whoever gets to frame the conclusion owns the outcome. Game over.
Okay, so we've seen how this whole system works, piece by piece. But the big question is why? Why is it so ridiculously effective? Well, the answer is hardwired deep inside our brains. It's a principle we can call the rhythm of wealth.
This whole thing hangs on a cognitive shortcut our brains love to take, called the Fluency Heuristic. See, our brains are kind of lazy. They look for simple rules, and one of those rules is to connect the speed of someone's speech with their status. Without even thinking about it, we connect a slow, deliberate pace with certainty, with confidence, with what you could call resource wealth. The primitive logic is dead simple. If you're not in a hurry, it must mean you're not scared of being interrupted. It means you expect people to wait for you.
And this slide, it basically shows you the binary code that our internal status radar is running all the time. It's simple. Slow pace, that signals authority and certainty. Fast, rushed pace, that screams anxiety and, well, being lower on the totem pole. It sends out this signal of status debt, this subconscious message that you feel like you owe people your speed, that you don't really deserve to take up space and time. We've been taught to think fast means smart, but when it comes to power dynamics, fast means subordinate.
I love this metaphor because it just nails the whole concept. Think about it physically, right? When you're anxious, your heart races. When you're confident, it's slow and steady. The pace of your conversation is just that internal state made audible. The person with the most juice in the room isn't frantic. They're calm. Their control over their own body translates directly into control over the room. So look, just understanding this system is a huge first step. But we're not just here to spot the trap, we're here to learn how to dismantle it. So let's get practical. Let's talk about the actual tools you can use to take back your cognitive agency, to stop being reactive and start being anchored, in command. The single most powerful weapon in your arsenal is what I call the 2-second buffer. And it sounds almost too simple. Before you answer any question, before you respond to any point, especially when you feel that pressure mounting, you just pause, count to 2 in your head, that's it. That tiny little action is a circuit breaker. It kills that knee-jerk reaction, it calms you down, and it gives you back control over your own mind. It sends a message to everyone else, but more importantly, it sends a message to you. I'm in control here. I'm choosing my words.
Okay, so beyond that buffer, you've got 3 core defensive moves. First, you got to avoid the explanation spiral. When you make your point and get hit with that wall of silence, fight every urge you have to start explaining yourself again. Just hold the silence, and if you absolutely have to speak, turn it back on them. Ask something simple like, "So, what's your take on that?" Make them do the work. Second, label the summary. If someone tries to wrap up the meeting with a version of events that isn't quite right, you correct it immediately and be precise. Hey, just to clarify, we didn't decide on X. We agreed to look into Y. And third, practice interruption resilience. If someone cuts you off, don't stop. Just calmly finish your sentence at your own pace. That one little move completely resets the power dynamic.
All right, so we've taken the trap apart, we've looked at the psychology that makes it work, and we've laid out the tools to fight back. And it really all boils down to one single core idea, a final mandate, if you will, for anyone who has to play in the big leagues.
You need to just throw away the idea that power means being the loudest person in the room or the one who talks the most. That's not it. Real authority belongs to the person the room is willing to be quiet for. It's having the deep down confidence to know that when you finally do decide to speak, people are going to wait and they're going to listen. Power isn't volume, power is pace.
And that is the key. That's what I want you to walk away with. That silence, that pause, it's not a judgment against you, it's a power vacuum. And instead of rushing in to fill it with your own anxiety, you need to learn how to just own that space, occupy it. Honestly, just knowing that this system exists is enough to break its spell over you. So from now on, stop performing for the pause. Own the rhythm.